Hi everyone, I'm JD. Welcome back to my channel. So here's a process video of me making my journal cover for the journal challenge, where I am giving myself the challenge pretty much to create a journal where it's just plain pages, and the way that I will embellish it is just using my scraps. I mean, I can use other things besides scraps, but the scrap has to be the base of each and every embellishment. And it's just a way for me to use up my scraps and to try and step out of my comfort zone, try new things, get creative, that kind of thing. And so I am just going to work on the cover in this video, and I thought I would try and film the whole process of making this journal from start to finish, so you can see what I do. And I thought maybe I'll even do some videos just making the embellishments themselves, and just grabbing my scrap box and scrap fabric and scrap paper and seeing what I can come up with. And I'll take you on the journey. So with this cover, I had a paper bag that I've just folded in half, so I love using that as my cover. And then I have this page from one of those vintage sewing books or magazines. And I really love this picture here, this ad, and I want to kind of trim it down so that you can see the lady and also those buttons, that button stand. And then I grab another page for the other side, and I just use a bunch of ads pretty much for this whole cover, because the ads look so cool. Those vintage ads, they look really, really awesome. So just trimming that down, and then I make it so it overlaps a little bit to reinforce the spine, and I do that with the back piece as well, so it's doubly reinforced. And then also on the inside of the cover, which you'll see later, I cover the inside with another page as well, just so that the paper bag is nicely reinforced on both sides. So I like how that looks, and then I'm just trying to work out if I can use these offcuts for the back of the cover. But as you can see, that piece there, it's a bit too short or narrow to cover that whole back piece. So I'm like, well, maybe I could patchwork something together, but it just wasn't working for me. So I ended up putting those pieces aside, and I'll use those later. Now that they're scraps, I'll use those later to embellish the journal, maybe create some pockets or something with them. So just trimming this down a little bit more so that it's straighter and trimming this piece down, getting it ready to turn into a pocket later on. So yeah, let me know if you're going to join in with this challenge. If you have a scrap box like me and it's overflowing, I hope that this challenge is helpful in using your scraps and maybe just doing something fun during this time, you know, of social isolation and when shops are closed and all that kind of thing. Just a way to use our supplies and just have fun. Just, yeah. The reason why I'm doing it as a challenge though is because I was putting off making this journal and using this idea to use scraps, because it is out of my comfort zone. And you know, I'm going to be trying new things, trying to do some collage things, just see what I come up with. And yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen, and so stepping into the new, into the unknown, I just kept putting it off, and then finally I'm like, all right, if I announce it as a challenge and say that other people can join in if they want, that will make me be accountable so that I have to do it myself. And what I thought as well, I will film the process so that it also makes me do it. Otherwise I won't, because it's, yeah, too hard to step out of the comfort zone sometimes. I will just keep making journals that are easy for me or something, rather than experimenting with something new. So yeah, I just found this other little ad here, and I really like it with the music notes, and you can see how I overlap the two, so then that spine has 2 layers over it. And I quite like how that looks together. I really love the patina, the vintage patina of these pages. I'm not sure if that's what you call it, but the brown tone to the page. And the gorgeous pictures, they're so adorable. And I might go in later after I fill the inside of the journal. I might even go in later and add some buttons or some fabric trims to the cover. So with the challenge, you can use any cover you want. You can make a cover using anything you want. So it doesn't have to be scraps. It can be a book cover. It can be anything. The only guidelines for this challenge are pretty much to use blank pages for the pages of the journal, and then to use, when you embellish it, to only use your scraps as the base. But you can use things like stamps or ephemera and place them on top of the scraps, and staples and glue and sewing and all of that jazz. But every embellishment has to incorporate at least one piece of scrap, the aim being to use our scraps. So yeah, just gluing them on now. I'm using a Bostik glue stick, and this will just keep it in place, and then I will go ahead and sew around the outside along every edge. And I thought that's nice anyway, just because it is a sewing journal, or a sewing themed journal, so it just adds a lovely element having that stitching. So there's the front cover, and I just get my ruler to fold that in place. And there's my cover, or the outside cover. Now I'm just opening it up and flipping through this book and trying to find a page that can be my inside cover. And I found this one here and decided to use it because it's a full page of ads. So to go with the ad theme, I wanted to use that. I am flicking through this other magazine just in case something else jumps at me, but no, I like this full page of ads. And then it's just a matter of lining it up and seeing where I want to trim it off. So I'm happy with trimming off that little piece saying that you can get the magazine from the newsagent. And yes, I'm just matching it up with the edges, and then I will trim that down and stick that onto the page. So I might just skip ahead a little bit because it takes me a little bit of time to figure out where I want to place my lines and cuts, but then I'll show you. Hang on, what am I doing here? Yeah, so I'm getting my ruler, ruling that down, and then I just cut that down to size. And then I just use that bottom edge because it's already straight, so I know that's straight, and then I flip it around so that I can see the straighter edge on the other side to know where to cut that down. And it worked out really well because I wasn't cutting anything off on the side or the top, so I could keep as much of that ad as I could. That just takes me a little bit of working out where to exactly place the cut so it's as straight as I can get it. So this bit I had to go in because it was a little bit wider on one edge. And now I'm good with that, so I think I end up going in with my glue stick and gluing that down. So I do fold it first because I'm trying to avoid it buckling and pulling on the page. Keanu's come to say hello. So cute. And then okay, I do go in with my glue stick now. So I may as well just show the whole process here. And let me know if you are joining in, what are you using for your cover? And are you going with any type of theme or anything? So because I've got a sewing themed cover, I am going to use a lot of sewing in this journal, I think, and a lot of fabric and trims and stuff. So I'll try and use up lots of that from my scrap box. And then I was thinking I might make a second journal for this challenge. So this journal I can focus more on using things from my fabric scraps. And then in the second journal that I make, I might concentrate more on using paper scraps. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. But that was my initial thinking, since this is more the sewing theme, so it works well having lots of threads and fabric and trim that I can sew onto pages and things like that, or just make embellishments with sewing. and then stick them onto the page. Who knows, I might add paper embellishments. So I just have to pull this up because it was buckling. So I ended up just going flat across like that with my ruler, and then I try and smooth everything out so it's as flat as possible, and then folding it here. So there we go. So yeah, let me know what you're using as your cover. Are you doing any theme for your journal? Or is there anything in particular you're hoping to get out of the challenge yourself? Anything you want to try? I'm going to try and do a snippet roll with my scraps. So yeah, I just came back here to show the finished cover after I've sewn around all the edges. And I really like how it looks. I love the neutral thread. I could have used black, but I quite like the neutral thread for this particular cover. And all on the inside, I love seeing all those stitchings and threads. So just giving you a close-up look. And I'm happy with my cover. So later in the next video, I'll fill it in with pages, and then after that we'll get cracking with our embellishments. Bye guys!